For almost half a century, this absolutely gorgeous piece of waterfront in Atlantic City has been, well, it's been like a ghost story, just a vacant lot with this really dramatic, fiery past. Now, a huge deal is finally about to change everything, but it really makes you ask, why did it take 50 years?
I mean, look at this. We're talking about some of the most valuable real estate in the whole city, and it's just been an empty lot for decades. The real mystery here isn't just why it was empty for so long, it's why a developer would buy it and then just sit on it for 20 years without building a single thing. The answer? Well, it's a mix of patience, some wild market shifts, and one very important deal.
All right, so to really get how we got here, we've got to rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, to this huge fire that literally wiped the slate clean and basically started a 50-year countdown.
So this timeline really lays it all out, and what just jumps out at you are these huge gaps. I mean, look at this. After the fire in '76, it takes almost 30 years before a developer even buys the land. Then another 20 years go by before the deal we're talking about today. And get this, construction isn't even slated to start until 2026. We're not talking about years here. We're talking about decades. 50 years. Just let that sink in. That is how long this piece of land has just been waiting. To put that into perspective, think about it. Whole generations of people in Atlantic City have grown up and only ever known this spot as an empty lot. That's pretty wild.
And when you look at a map, you totally get why this land is so special. I mean, you've got these incredible views of the inlet, you're looking right across the Brigantini, and you're just a short walk from the Aquarium and the historic Gardener's Basin. So yeah, this is not just some random empty lot, this is prime real estate.
Okay, so who finally came into the picture? Well, back in the early 2000s, a developer showed up with a really big vision. But that vision, and the market itself, it was all about to change big time over the next couple of decades.
And this is really the heart of it. The developer, Kushner Companies, has owned this land for 20 full years. They've been the main character in this whole waiting game.
So what did they pay? $2 million. Now that's obviously a lot of money. But for a piece of prime, undeveloped waterfront like this, it also kind of set the stage for a very, very patient investment strategy.
And this right here is the key. Their agreement with the city had this little clause that basically said they were allowed to wait for favorable market conditions. What does that mean? It means they weren't forced to build right away. So for 20 years, through recessions, through all kinds of economic shifts, apparently the conditions just weren't right. Not yet, anyway. And this really shows you just how much the market changed over that time. The original idea, 300 luxury condos to sell. The plan now, 180 rental apartments, for the regular market. That is a totally different project, and it tells you a lot about how the whole economic picture in the city has changed.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. The one thing that finally made the math make sense and convinced the developer to finally get the shovels in the ground.
So what was it? After waiting 20 years, what finally broke the deadlock? What could have possibly changed the financial equation so much that building suddenly became a good idea?
30 years. That's the answer. But wait, it's not another delay, it's actually the solution.
Here's what happened. The city council approved a 30-year tax break for the project. Basically, instead of paying normal property taxes that can go up and down, this lets the developer pay a fixed, predictable amount to the city. That kind of long-term financial security, that was the incentive that finally tipped the scales. It's what made the market favorable enough to build.
And just like that, after half a century of sitting quiet, a brand new chapter is about to be written on this historic piece of land.
Pretty soon, this whole view is going to be transformed. That empty space, where Garwood Mills used to be, is going to become home for hundreds of new people in a brand new 180-unit apartment complex.
So, what's the end game here? Well, by 2026, the plan is to have 180 new rental units right in that amazing inlet spot. The people who live there will have easy access to a rebuilt boardwalk and be just a stone's throw away from local favorites like the Aquarium. It's a really fascinating story of patience, timing, and, well, finance. But it does leave us with one last big question to think about. A 50-year wait for something to be built, all unlocked by a 30-year tax deal? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the right price for progress?